Hey Brian, Joe Bon Giovanni here. I'm getting back at you from the days of old of Joe and Nick and Gary going back and forth about what's important for Gary socially. Gary mostly about society, trying to use economics and finance to have some justice in society, and Nick looking at what was going on with the economy and trying to understand MoneyLink. Nick's come a long ways. I stopped talking to Gary just because I didn't think he was really open-minded, to be honest with you. His view of how things worked. But I'm still out here, and our message is still the same. It's the alternatives to the debt money system that we need to be exploring. With regard to the Fed, like I said, we view the folks at the Fed as being, kind of hardworking people doing the best job they can, given the fact of what kind of policy tools they have and the system they're working under. And the policy tools stem from the system, so it's the underlying system that's at fault. They are doing the best job they can, like a lot of other people that work for the government, except that they don't work for the government. But they're still doing the best job they can, so we give them the credit for that. We think that they can do just as good a job with the debt-free money system, where their role um, becomes not to influence the amount of money in existence, but just to basically oversee and regulate in a much smaller degree the system. Um, Now, having said that, and with your education coming through the Fed, I hope that you're going to take the time to listen to Dr. Bernard Semp's video. Dr. Semp has done the best job that I've seen anybody do ever on the fallacies of debt money, showing how in a system where all money is created as debt, repayable with interest, without creating that interest in the money system, it has to come out of the economy as a cost to the next loan. Okay, and that compounding interest over time, especially over long times, means that there's greater and greater and greater cost to society of accumulating the wealth of the labor that goes into creating the wealth and benefiting the few and costing the many, of which the many are you and I. Um, and by the way, also the same for the guys who work at the Fed. Um, so having said that, I think you and I have a pretty good opportunity to have a dialogue here about what's going on, and you know because I read all the central bank working papers, and that includes the Federal Reserve's research papers. Um, one of my criticisms, my real honest criticisms, is they're not very good at self-evaluation. They're not very good at self-criticism. They're not very good about, well, who's in charge of understanding if there's something wrong with this system, because nobody is. That's part of the problem. So, with that, I'm going to leave it at that. Hopefully, if you want to do the private videos, like I said, if you open up a YouTube channel in which you and I have the only passwords, we can create all the videos we want, make them private, nobody else can see them. On the other hand, if we decide that we've said something that might be worthwhile listening as a dialogue, that's important to my point here, then we can make them as public as we want to make them public. However, my videos that I make will always be Joe Behead's videos. Okay, I try never to sign on as economic stability, because that's what Pete and I do. So anyway, look forward to it, Brian, and thanks for being out there. Take care.